I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. We all know by now that there was just a very tiny crowd outside the federal courthouse in Miami of some supporters, some people who hated Donald Trump, some supporters, some media, but it was a very small crowd. Most of the people who were just like supporters of Donald Trump were these like ultra MAGA, let's just call it what it is, like cult weirdos. You had the guy who had the tall stick with the dead pig's head on it. You had these older white women wearing shirts that say Blacks for Trump 2020. It's a fascist traveling weirdo circus that brought their fascist circus in front of the Miami federal courthouse, but a very small crowd. And Donald Trump, of course, has to compensate for the very tiny crowd. And by the way, his utter weakness. If we just talk about again just for a second, that special counsel Jack Smith, here's Jack Smith walking in at the Miami airport the night before. So he was there about 6 feet away from Donald Trump during the arraignment where Donald Trump pled not guilty. Donald Trump waived the reading of the arraignment. And special counsel Jack Smith was just staring at Donald Trump, looking at him in the eyes. And rightfully so. Donald Trump's been attacking special counsel Jack Smith personally, attacking special counsel Jack Smith's wife, family, and friends. And Jack Smith wasn't having it. He was just staring Trump down. And in person was Donald Trump saying, maniac, deranged. No, Donald Trump, like the coward that he is, just sulked and arms crossed and refused to look at Jack Smith, wouldn't even look him in the eye. And by the way, I think Roberta Kaplan, E. Jean Carroll's lawyer, said one of the same things in the deposition, that Donald Trump would not look, I think, her and E. Jean Carroll in the eye. Donald Trump's a freaking coward. I got to repeat it over and over and over again. When you confront this coward, he always backs down like the weakest person that there is. But I guess that appeals to, I don't know, his base. But these are the posts that he made to try to overcompensate for that and say it was a great rally, it was a great event. What are you talking about? We have video of the incident, of the event. So he starts off by writing, "Make America Great Again," all caps, exclamation point. Oh, his next post, he goes, nothing to do with anything. He's talking about, he's giving a high five to his friends at the Saudi Arabian Sovereign Wealth Fund. I guess he's saying, "You gave Jared Kushner $2 billion. I need some of that money." Donald Trump writes, "I wonder if the PGA players who didn't heed my advice and take the massive amounts of money that was offered to them by LIV Golf," and again, LIV Golf is the golf league owned by the Saudi Arabian Sovereign Wealth Fund, and didn't take the massive amounts of money that was offered to them by LIV Golf, feel somewhat stupid right now. I predicted a merger," he puts that in caps, "and that is exactly what happened. But whether LIV succeeded or failed, what the hell did they have to lose except for some bull fed to them by highly paid PGA executives? Plenty, in fact, more money than they will ever be able to make again. Anyway, enjoy the game, exclamation point." You know, the America First crowd, right? Let's go cheer on Vladimir Putin, cheer on Kim Jong-un. Let's cheer on the LIV Golf taking over the American PGA, the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund backed, fully owned golf tournament now owns America's golf and America's PGA, and then calling the PGA golfers stupid. You know, the reality is that the PGA executives are truly horrific and horrendous people. They tried to claim the reason that they didn't want to do a merger with LIV was because they didn't want to perpetuate 9/11 conspiracy theories, which is a very valid reason. If that was the true reason why they were refusing to have the merger with LIV, but they disgustingly use that as a negotiating prop to try to get more money from the Saudi-backed sovereign wealth fund. And now you have the PGA basically owned by Saudi Arabian's sovereign wealth fund as part of their influence operation. I guess what they figure is, Well, the Russians own the NRA, so how else can we influence Republican voters? Let's buy their golf league, is what they were thinking. And here you've got Donald Trump just celebrating it and rooting them on because, as part of the obvious quid pro quo that exists, the Saudis hold their golf tournaments at Donald Trump's properties. So this means more money for Donald Trump. Screw the country in Donald Trump's mind. And this is viewed as a big win for him. And by the way, there's been video, I've showed it here before, I'm not going to play it, where Donald Trump is talking about while the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund is at his golf club in Bedminster, it's like a year ago or 18 months ago, and he was asked a question about 9/11. He spread conspiracy theories, disgusting, putrid conspiracy theories that, well, most people don't know the origins of. What are you talking about? What a horrific, disgusting thing to say. Here's Donald Trump's next post. He goes, "Has anyone seen this man? Biden's special counsel, Robert Hur, appears to have vanished." He hasn't vanished. He's doing his work. Most people, you never heard from special counsel Jack Smith other than when Donald Trump would attack him and call him mad dog, psycho, and all these things. We didn't hear Jack Smith's name until last week. Or actually heard him speak, rather. Until we heard him speak last week for the first time. Prosecutors, people do their work without acting like complete and utter maniacs.
And now let's take a quick break to talk about our next partner, Fume. Cold turkey, it may be great on sandwiches, but there's a better way to break your bad habits. We're not talking about some weird mind voodoo from your wacky neighbor or some sketchy message board. We're talking about our sponsor, Fume, and they look at the problem in a different way. Now, not everything in a bad habit is wrong. So instead of drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from your habit? Fume is an innovative, award-nominated device that does just that. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. Instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses all natural, delicious flavors. You get it. Instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a habit you're free to enjoy and makes replacing your bad habit easy. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing and anxiety while breaking your habit. The first time I used Fume, I was shocked at how flavorful and fresh it tasted. Now, it's easy to hold and perfectly balanced and quite honestly, extremely fun to fidget with. The real wood material and sleek design definitely classes it up, and I feel pretty darn cool holding it. Stopping is something we all put off because it's hard, but switching to Fume is easy, enjoyable, and even fun. Fume has served over 100,000 customers and has thousands of success stories. And there's no reason that can't be you. Join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryfume.com and use code Meidas to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com and use code Meidas to save an additional 10% off your order today.
Donald Trump's next post, he goes, all in caps, about his arraignment. "One of the saddest days in the history of our country. We are a nation in decline because this despicable, rotten, evil traitor in Donald Trump is such a malignant narcissist that he views himself as the nation. He believes that Americans are mourning over him. No, we are rejoicing in law and order and accountability and seeing your traitorous self walk in there and be arraigned, be placed under arrest, be fingerprinted, go before a federal magistrate judge on a case where you can serve up to 400 years in prison if you add up all of the charges. And no matter what, for him, a much shorter sentence, obviously, would be a life sentence. But these charges for anybody, regardless of their age, would be a life sentence. And so, no, not the saddest day, an important day in our history where no one is above the law. His next post, because he's trying to get the crowd now to come. He goes, "On my way to courthouse, witch hunt, MAGA." He's trying to get people to show up there. Didn't work. Very, again, small, tiny crowd. And then he goes, "Thank you, Miami. Such a warm welcome on such a," he puts this in caps, "sad day for our country." Again, not a sad day for our country. What is a sad day for our country is how you have disgraced the office of the presidency, how you have disgraced our country each and every day, how you continue to humiliate our nation by your very mere existence, by saying dumb, traitorous crap like this, helping our enemies, cheering for the downfall of our democracy, and using the symbols of our great democracy, using the symbols like our great flag and like our Constitution, and using those and perverting them in the sickest and most despicable ways. And to see these idiotic and so dangerous things that were said on these audio recordings where you knew you were being recorded, and you're just showing strangers who are ghostwriting a book for Mark Meadows' military operations, and you're trying to show them these things and say, "Hey, aren't I better than Chairman Milley? Aren't I cool? Like aren't I a winner here? Aren't I a winner here?" No, it's beyond despicable. And by the way, you now have an analysis in one of Israel's top papers, Haaretz, which says, "Trump indictment. Israel intelligence fears president compromised top secret intel." Former President Donald Trump pled not guilty to classified document charges. Among hundreds of documents removed were possible references to Iran and Israel. And yeah, you know how your previous post was about LIV Golf? What Israel is terrified, among a number of things, is that you were showing these documents. If you were showing them to freaking Mark Meadows' ghostwriters for his autobiography and saying, "Aren't I cool?" That when the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund leaders were at Bedminster, that you would probably do the exact same thing. May not be on an audio recording, but that is what terrifies our allies abroad. Israel terrifies the UK and France and others who have documents as well that you stole and about them. And then finally, here's a post. You go, because again, the level of maturity on this cowardice traitor is despicable. He calls Jake Tapper, he goes, "Fake Tapper just demanded that his broadcast be closed down from Miami because there was far too much enthusiasm on the streets for Trump. The good news is he was the only one to do so. Perhaps a good explanation as to why CNN's ratings are so low." And to Chris Licht, who's now been fired from CNN, who's so disgraced our democracy and disgraced CNN and has, I don't know, maybe have made CNN beyond repair at this point. They still have some good writers, but what Chris Licht did is frankly unforgivable, and his legacy for the rest of his life will be of, I think, complete and utter shame for what he did. But no, right here, right now, the reason that CNN cut away from it is because it was the most despicable, weird, deranged stuff in the world, and Jake Tapper didn't want to have that on. And no, there's not some conspiracy theory here that Jake Tapper thought that there was so much enthusiasm. It was just freaking weird. It was weird, and it was deranged, and it was vile, and you had people with pig heads on stakes, and you had people dressed in weird cosplay fascist outfits. It's a disgrace to our nation what went down. And yet he's the leader of the Republican Party. But the Republican Party is now the MAGA Republican Party. It's not even recognizable. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 1.5 million subscribers. Thanks to your support. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch or wherever you get audio podcasts. Subscribe to the MeidasTouch podcast. Have an excellent day. Hit subscribe on our YouTube channel now.
At MeidasTouch, we are unapologetically pro-democracy, and we demand justice and accountability. That's why we're spreading our message to Convict 45. That's right, gear up right now with your Convict 45 tees and pins at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.